Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's Amanda Testa here. And I wanted to come on because I have just been really touched by all the metoo's that I'm seeing in the news feed. And I know people have their opinions on what Facebook is for and what it shouldn't be for, but I just want to speak to my experience around this and my own experience. And everybody's totally welcome to their own opinions, but I'm just going to share mine. And I really feel like this is such an issue that needs to be discussed. And I think just the sheer volume of, I think pretty much every woman I've seen in my group has, that I know is affected in some way by this, whether or not they, post or not. And so I feel like this is such a huge conversation that needs to happen. And this is why I feel like, the work that I'm doing in the world to really kind of reduce shame and stigma around sexuality is so important. So I'm just going to touch on a couple things, and also I want to just explain how, just in general, a lot of women just don't even feel safe to express who they are fully in the world because of sexual violence and just from, being harassed. I see this all the time with my clients, and I hear it all the time with women, overcoming trauma. And I have to say that it is just, I was at a conference a couple years ago. Probably 5,000 people in it. It was actually a Tony Robbins conference. And he had people raise their hands. He's like, all right, men, if you've felt afraid in the past 48 hours, raise your hand. Maybe a handful of people's hands went up. And then he asked the same question to women. If you have felt, feared for your safety in the past 48 hours, raise your hand. And probably 90% of the hands went up. This is a huge issue, and we don't talk about it enough, and it needs to be addressed. So I'm just happy that this conversation is becoming more and more out there, because as it should, I don't have the answers. All I know is the more we talk about it, the more we will find solutions. We don't still ride around in cart and buggies. So things need to change, and they are changing, and they will continue to change. So and my own story, I don't want to get into the details of it because I don't feel like that's important, but I know myself in my life, I've experienced a lot. I was kind of going through the laundry list, starting when I was probably 8 and walking home from school and got flashed by some dude behind the dumpster. I mean, it happens all the time to, growing up in the South where, it's a very kind of, in a lot of ways, it's still a very chauvinistic society, not all the time, but in some ways it is. And I think I felt that coming along, certain privileges are available to men and not to women. And that kind of goes to play here too. And, and studies show like 1 in 6 women are sexually violated in their life. And I probably think it's closer to 1 in 3 because I know so many times they're not even reported because women feel, shame around it, or they feel like it's their fault because that's what our culture has led us to believe. And so I just feel like this work of removing the shame and stigma around sexuality is so important because the more people can freely talk about it and feel safe to talk about it, that the less the shadow side is going to come up. And that shadow side is the sexual violence that you see, the rape, people, taking out their desires in unhealthy ways. And it's a huge issue. I think another thing is just being on this journey, seeing how not only just giving so much love to all the women who've been affected, but also, really thinking about the men who've been involved and like really offering them forgiveness, communal forgiveness, because this forgiveness is a big part of healing. And I feel like men in our society have just been totally raised to, be tough and show them who's boss and don't be a pussy and, is that what you don't want to treat her that way? Like, don't be a sissy. Quit crying. Like, they're not allowed to be vulnerable. And there's a great documentary out there called The Mask We Wear, which I highly urge every person to see. Because if you're a mother of boys or if you're a man, it's just so eye-opening on how our culture treats men and why they are so violent because they, not always, but a lot of times when you can't fully express yourself, there's no place to be vulnerable. There's no place to safely really talk about what's going on. Like for the majority of men, when they hang out with other dudes, they're like drinking beer, watching sports. I mean, really opportunities to be truly vulnerable and get support and talk about your issues. I feel like that's so important. I actually was just reading another book by a guy I saw speaking this weekend, and I forgot his name, but anyway, it's called The Mask of Masculinity, and he was talking about, how he was a football player, he was raised that, you are a conqueror, and the more women that you conquer, the better, and, he talked about in this one chapter, The Mask of Sexuality, working with the pickup artist, I forget the guy's name, who's like a famous pickup artist, and, teaches men how to pick up women, and how, he went through this experience of his own, the pickup artist, of like having all these women and thinking it was going to be all, it was amazing, and really in the end, it kind of leaves you feeling empty, because it's not all it's cracked up to be all the time. Well, a lot of men think, oh man, that would be great. In reality, it's not always that way. So what else here? Again, I don't have the answers, but I just wanted to open up this conversation and, just give my support to the people out there that have been affected. And I know I myself have, and numerous times, sadly. And it's just, I want us to communally keep talking about this. Hello, everyone. Thank you out there. Thank you, Ian. It's Lewis House. Thank you. Thank you. The guy who wrote The Mask of Masculinity. So that's what I have to say about that. And, I do think it's a lot to really be vulnerable. Make it safe to be vulnerable. Make it safe for your partner to be vulnerable. Really, if you haven't talked about it in a long time, if you're in a relationship or you haven't had sex in forever, talk about it. You got to start this conversation somehow. And you also need to allow your partner to be vulnerable with you and be kind back and be trusting and let them know that they can talk to you and do the same for each other. And when you have little boys out there, teach them that they can be a little boy in a lot of different ways. They can express their emotions. With the girls too, from an early age, we talk about body consent and speaking, your actual anatomy, using your own terms for your anatomy, not down there, but calling it what it is. And, also teaching from a young age, what consent is, when you're playing and you're grabbing someone's arm too tight and they say no, you stop immediately, and explaining to them why that's so important to respect each other's bodies. So these are just some things that were coming up for me. So I wanted to share them, and thank you very much for those of you who are watching, or for those of you, I would love to hear your feedback. What has this meant for you? Is this something that has affected you in your life? What do you need support around? Is there anything that I can do to help support you? And knowing that I work with so many women that have been through trauma in their life, and there are beautiful ways to heal and come out stronger in the end. And you don't have to feel shameful about it. And you don't have to, let it keep you closed in. You can actually thrive and, shine again. And I have a beautiful list of resources I can post below for some support if you need. And thank you again for watching. And I hope you all have a great day.